one day having baked some bread and said, "Take one of these loaves and some warm milk to your granny through the forest." Yes, good, right, we're all on the same page. Well, except you're on that page, I'm on the French variant page from the notes back at the book. So she loaded a hot loaf and some warm milk into a basket and she set off through the village. And the girl, headgear unspecified, had only got to the crossroads at the end of the village when she met Bazoo the werewolf. And he said to her, "Where are you going? What are you doing?" And she said, "I'm taking a hot loaf and some warm milk to my granny through the forest." And he said, "Are you taking the path of needles or the path of pins?" And she said, "I'm taking the path of needles." He said, "I'll take the path of pins then. We'll see who gets there first." And away he went, fleet-foot through the forest. She dawdled along the path of needles, collecting needles as she went. He arrived at Granny's house, knocked on the door. "Who is it?" It's your granddaughter, he said, disguising his voice badly. "What do you want?" I've brought some hot loaf and some warm milk for you, Granny." "Oh, lift the latch and come in." So he lifted the latch and he went in and he killed Granny. And he, yeah, go on. And he put some of her meat and her blood, which he'd captured in a bottle, in the cupboard. And then he put on her clothes and he climbed into the bed. The girl, headgear unspecified, turned up at the house later as it was beginning to grow dark, and she knocked upon the door. "Who is it?" "It's your granddaughter with a hot loaf and some warm milk." Lift up the latch and lift up the latch and come in. Sorry, I've got a sore throat." So she lifted the latch and she went in. And the voice came from the bed. Although the fire played its light around the room, the bed was along the same wall, and so the head of the bed was in darkness and she could not see her granny lying there. And the voice said, "There's some meat and a bottle of wine in the cupboard. Bring it over and we'll have a feast." So she went to the cupboard and she got the meat and the bottle of wine and she brought it and they ate and they drank. Clearly. And there was a cat who said, "Phooey, a slut is she who eats the flesh and drinks the blood of her granny."
Always listen to your cat.
Always listen to your cat, exactly. But she didn't listen to her cat. It wasn't her cat, it was Granny's cat. So.
And the wolf tolerated the cat?
Nothing more is said on the matter of the cat. I haven't been putting that line in, actually, all through the tour, and I just thought tonight I'd give it a try. Now I know why I've been leaving it out.
Did the cat put the fire out?
And then once they feasted, the wolf said, "Well, take off your clothes, get into bed, tell me a story." So the girl, headgear unspecified, undid her apron and said, "Where shall I put my apron?" "Throw it in the fire. You won't be needing it anymore." She threw it in the fire. And then she took off her bodice. "Where shall I put my bodice?" "Throw it in the fire. You won't be needing it anymore." Threw it into the fire. And so, with her dress and her petticoat, and she was just starting to roll down her long stockings, and the wolf felt a different hunger stirring within him. And he said, "You can keep those on for a moment." She went to the bed and climbed in, and as she climbed in, she brushed against the skin of the wolf. And she said, "Oh, Granny, how hairy your skin is." And the wolf said, all the better to keep me warm. And as they were moving in the bed to make themselves comfortable, his nails, his claws, touched her arm. Oh, Granny, what long nails you have. All the better to scratch myself with. And as they moved again, oh, Granny, what broad shoulders you have. All the better for humping wood with. Just a word, it means carrying. Dear me. And then he had turned round and she said, oh, Granny, what big eyes you have. All the better to see with, my dear. Oh, Granny, what a long tongue you have. We'll just gloss over that one. Oh, Granny, what big teeth you have. All the better to eat you with, my dear. Oh, Granny, I need to pee. Just go in the bed. No, I want to go outside. And so the wolf tied a rope of wool around her ankle and she went out through the door. But once in the garden, she untied the rope and tied it to a plum tree. The wolf grew impatient and he called out, what's keeping you? Are you making a load? Are you making a load? But there was no answer. And he went to the door and opened it and saw that he had been tricked. And the fit came upon him and he became fully a wolf. And he raced out through the door to pursue her through the forest. But she had not run away. She had busied herself finding a good stout stick. And as he came through the door, she knocked him senseless upon the floor. Hooray! When the wolf came to, he was back in the bed. But his wrists and his ankles, his thighs, his middle, his chest, were all bound with ropes, tying him firmly to the bed. And 3 ropes came to his head and neck, so he could not move. The girl, headgear unspecified, was standing at the end of the bed. She had his shirt on, which covered her to a few inches above the stocking tops. She said, you wanted a story? And she picked up her granny's harp and began to play. A long, long time ago, far to the north, the long-legged god Loki set out from Asgard, eastwards towards Jotunheim, where the giants dwell. Not content with his beautiful golden-haired wife, Sigyn, he spent days, nights, weeks on end with the giantess Angrboda, fornicating with her. And as a result of this union, she bore 3 monstrous children. The eldest was Fenrir the wolf, the second Jormungand, greatest of serpents, and the third a daughter called Hel. You could have picked Hel out in a crowd of 1,000, for though her face and neck, her shoulders, back, arms and breast were all pink, From the hips downwards, every part of her was greenish grey and decaying. The gods heard about these 3 children, and they consulted with the Norns, the 3 weavers of the fates of all in the 9 worlds, and the first earth said, "Father is bad, but the children are worse." And the second Vathandi said, "Expect nothing from them but harm." And Skuld, the last, said, "They will be in at the kill." And so a gang of gods travel